I'm Christine Williams here for Globalquerque, visiting from Moab, Utah, and it is a thrill to have Ni Teti Tete, the founder of the Kusun Ensemble, the composer of many of the pieces, and the choreographer as well. Teti, thank you so much for coming to Albuquerque and playing today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Tell me a little about your impressions of New Mexico.
Looking at New Mexico, if I look at the whole area, the way it looks like somewhere in north of Africa, because I've been to uh, uh, Egypt several times. Well, I'm not from Egypt, though. I'm from Ghana, West Africa, but I've visited Egypt for several times. And looking at Albuquerque, it just took my mind to the place. And also, it looks like some part in Kenya, no, Addis Ababa. Where is Addis Ababa? I can't even remember my.
Isn't it in Africa?
Yeah, it's in Africa, but Ethiopia, Ethiopia Addis Ababa. If you're looking at Albuquerque, so for me, it just reminds me of somewhere back in Africa. Very beautiful, and if I look at the houses, some of the houses that they built, it's like they went into the desert and take the idea from the desert. So it just make me feel like home.
Your music is just replete with joy. The energy that you bring gives a lot of joy to everybody that listens to it. It occurs to me that music is our visa. It's our way of connecting, regardless of language, and that you are an ambassador of Ghana with this language. Does the Kusun Ensemble have a particular message? Does the music have a particular message?
Look, we brought so much. We have so much message that we giving out there. For example, you see a lot of joy and a lot of energy in the music and the dance, because the energy, some of the dance that we do are from work. So it's a work music and dance. So if the joy and the energy is not there, the work cannot be done. So the music and the dance is one of the tools that they use at work. For example, we did the Bambaya dance that the people in the northern Ghana use for farming. And that is one of their major tools. You can't take that tool away from them. If you take that tool out, the work cannot go on. That's why you see this joy and thing on the thing. So we brought so much. And if you look at the setup, we have so much different instruments from different parts of Ghana and different parts of Africa. Traditionally, you're not going to see the drums mixing together like that. And it's just because in Ghana alone, there's over 50 languages spoken there, and they all have their cultures, their music, their dance, Same applies to places like Nigeria, Guinea, all the African countries are like that. So every tradition have their own corner and what they have. You don't miss it. But we bring all these instruments together today because we're trying to preserve them. Because I'm very sorry to tell you that today, everybody in Ghana want to be American or want to be a British. So it's really taking away the beautiful culture that we have. If you look at the boys, they dress like Americans. And sometimes it pains me when they come home from school and their pants is falling off, and I'm like, gosh, the dress and their pants is falling off, But look at my clothing. We have all this beautiful clothing back home. For me, if you see me back home, this is how I dress. If you see me in America, this is how I dress. So most of the time, people feel like, how do I keep it? Especially when we are on tour and it's in winter Even though winter, I'll put all my clothing on, and then I'll put the African gear on top, because I want to represent my country. And it's just because of the cultures from the Western world, the impact that they are putting on our cultures.
Well, I'm very glad that you are keeping the culture alive
Yeah.
and bringing the wisdom of all of that time forward.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you were saying about respecting elders and having it be an oral history.
Yeah.
Would you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, the thing is, we live in a oral tradition. In our tradition, your grandmother have to tell your father, your father have to tell you have to tell your children and your grandchildren. For us, the older you get, the more respect you have. And most of the time when we have little performances in the old age homes here in America, I feel so happy. Just look at some of these old people and you can sense what these people have done in their life ages ago. In our tradition, you don't put these people there because every woman being, you are once a man and twice a child. So when they get into this old age, this is when they need their grandchildren around them because they behave like the grandchildren. So it makes them, it gives them life. Looking at my grandmother and her age, over 90 years, she still talk because all the time the grandchildren are around and the great-grandchildren and the great-great-grandchildren are around her. You know, so she's doing things for them and she's still strong, she's still alive. So that is one medicine that we can take away from the old people by giving them their great-great-grandchildren.